Hello, this is Lisa Hazard and Misty Lore with We're All Psychic. And today we have Nancy with an E, not an EY. I had been calling her Nance, and Misty right away, psychic as she is, said, "That's Nancy." She said, "Hey, Nancy." And I was like, I read it literally. And so, Nance, we have a question for you. Misty.
Nancy, Nancy,
Nancy, I called her Nance again. I did it again. Well,
it doesn't matter.
Menopause memory, like we were talking about. So, Misty, would you like to ask her the question?
Yes, I would like to ask Nancy the question. Nancy, do you think we're all psychic?
Yes, we are. We are all. We just have to be able to wake up and remember.
What do we remember?
Just remember where we come from, because I think a lot of us are just live in this fear-based world, and that we forget that there's something bigger than us, whether it's our higher self, the universe, God, whatever resonates with you, Mother Earth. But there's definitely a calling when you open up and you actually stop fighting it and pushing that boulder up the mountain to try to think you know everything, and just ask your ego to go and build a bridge for a minute. The messages come through, and we all have that ability to be able to connect to our higher selves. So think about it in the terms of this. A baby comes in, and when I had my daughter, I was like, she's my teacher. Because when a baby comes into this world, they're just pure souls.
Yes,
I agree. They know how to walk, they know how to eat, they know how to cry for food. They just know what to do, right? And then somewhere along the line, we decide to tell them that we as parents know what to do more than them, right? So then they start to forget that they have intuition, intuitive. Yes. So I promised myself I would never raise my daughter like that. So I made her my teacher, and she would just I let her just have all intuitiveness. Like, we would talk to the moon, we talk to crystals. She's the one that got me into crystals. And she's 20 now. So, and she would say, "Oh, look, there's, grandpa out there playing with his friends," and grandpa passed on. And I was like, "Okay, let's go play." So
I love it.
So we are all able to do it. It's just a matter, and with everything that's going on right now, with the awakening of Christ consciousness, and actually learning that we come from this higher source, it's beautiful when you can just believe and not live in fear.
It is. Yeah, living in fear is a way that our culture, and especially in the United States of the last 20 years, has been hammered home. Right. Fear, be afraid, be afraid.
One of the things I taught my daughter, I'm like, fear and faith can't exist in the same place. Choose one. I choose faith.
Yes.
Just choose it. You can choose it. It's all free will. It's free choice. We can choose to be closed-minded and think, oh, all those people that believe in spirits and talking and stuff, oh, they're all woo-woo. No, I think all of you that don't are woo-woo. I think I'm normal. I think I'm normal.
Yeah.
And the thing is if you see me, I'm just an average mom, owns my own business, an average mom, raised a competitive golfer. I don't wear gauze, and I do wear crystals all the time. I just took them off, but I do wear crystals all the time. But it's you wouldn't, it doesn't have to have a stereotype to it. We're all intuitive.
Right.
I don't care who you are.
Exactly. That's how I feel about it. And Akasha has been on the show, and Misty's been here. When Akasha and I will say, we'll go back and forth on, we'll usually compromise on energy work as a term that everybody can use. She's a witch. So she's like, "You're a witch, Lisa." I was like, "No, Akasha, you're psychic." We joke about it. So it's there's not enough words. There's not enough words for what all these experiences we have. And there could be a lot more words for the experiences we have on an energy work level, or with working with other people's energy, or doing anything like that, any kind of psychic readings.
Well, that brings me to the next point. We're all energy. That's it.
Yeah.
And so that's it. So one of the things is a rock is energy. Crystals are energy. Even pen was created by somebody with energy. So when you understand that we're collectively all energy and we're all vibrating, So shouldn't we all vibrate on a higher level? So in turn, it's like the ripple effect, and then we can vibrate the Mother Earth
The
higher
resonance.
too.
Yeah, we can all
Yeah,
resonate
like-
and get everybody shaking.
Yeah. It's like I don't know. Since I've learned this, it's like I don't want to come and vibrate on your low flying disc. I want you to come up here and vibrate and play with me up here, and like we have a great time together, you know. But it's and then so that's what I do with my clients is it's like raise their vibration, because when you can raise their vibration, it's like the ripple effect. Then they go out and they're vibrant and happy. Then maybe they touch somebody else.
Right.
And then maybe they
I
touch
love
somebody else. And then in
Yes.
turn, all of that vibration raises the vibration of the earth that we could possibly be spreading faith, belief, trust, instead
Positive
of
energy. Yeah.
positive energy. Yes. Instead of all
Positive
this fear.
self-image.
Oh, yeah,
But a lot of
please.
people with
Well,
the
that's-
psychic
Mhm.
a good thing happening and they can't stop it and they don't know what it is. There's a lot of lack of self-faith and a lot of self-doubt, and people telling them, of course it's hard when you have something like this going on and you never know what it is. People will tell you are crazy, or there's something wrong with your
I
experience.
think I was always called the voodoo doctor, and I was like,
Voodoo
okay,
doctor.
that
All
works
right.
for you.
That's it. So how did you?
She's got an oil for that.
Yeah,
She's a
just
voodoo doctor. I was
essential
like,
oils.
okay.
Yes, Nancy and I
Yeah.
talked on the phone, and we talked about essential oils pretty much the whole time. But I did want to
Oh.
ask you, do you want to tell the listeners what it was like for you? Have you always been interested in this topic or these types of things that you do?
So kind of like what I think I had it totally. I can remember being young. I grew up on a farm area in New Jersey, but like it wasn't really a farm area, but we had a farm. And I can remember like talking to the grass or like having picnics in a tree. And now that I'm actually more in tune to my gifts, or I don't like to call them gifts because we all have them, but in tune to what I can do, I look back now and I think I always did. And then there was a big portion of my life where I stopped it, where it was just, I denied it, right? And during that denial period, you start to think, oh gosh, this is weird. But I always had this little like fun thing, like, oh, I'll go to a card reader, or I'll go to this, like I always just dabbled, but it wasn't
Me
until
too. Yeah.
and it was kind of fun because you were like, oh yeah, that's fun, but
Yeah.
all right, moved on, right? And then I also could always, I was like so much in nowhere, like I knew things like, oh my gosh, this happened, and I would freak out. And then I'd be, that happened. And so basically I am, so there's a puppy that wants to have
There's
a
a
big
puppy.
conversation with us.
They love the
Every
podcast.
time.
They love the
Yeah.
podcast.
So just basically like I always had it. Then I got very sick. And when you get sick, you have to like do some soul searching.
Yes.
And I was in my 30s and I did some major soul searching. And what I realized is there was 4 components to I had an autoimmune disease, and all the doctors were like, that's it. It's crazy. And you're going to be like crippled by the time you're 50, or this is going to hurt and that. And I was like,
Oh my
no.
gosh.
I was like, no, I'm 54 now. So, but I was like,
Wow.
no, that's not going to happen. Right. So I did this soul searching, and it happened when we moved to Utah. It was the first time I didn't have a job, and I was 44 years old. And I sat in the closet a lot with frankincense and Jesus, a lot. And I just would sit there. I would just sit there and be like, okay, bring it on. And what I realized, if these 4 components are missing in your life, then that's why your life's out of whack. If your body, your awareness, your movement, and your spirit are out of whack, I call them my BAMs, then things are off kilter. So all those people that have anxiety and depression, I like to tell them to just sit with that for a minute. Maybe that's a little tap on your shoulder for spirit telling you you're on the wrong path, because you wouldn't be anxious or depressed if you were on your right path.
Yeah.
So instead of feeding the depression, the fear of it and the anxiety, sit on your porch with it and say like, hey, why do I feel this way? What is going on in my life? And when I did that and I sat down with it and sat with the dis-ease and really got to learn it and listen to it, it was just telling me I wasn't on my path. I'm supposed to be a teacher, a coach, a person intuitive. I'm supposed to think Jesus and Mary Magdalene are amazing. I do. I just do. I get messages from them. I'm sorry. I'm supposed to know that there's something higher out. And why? Because God said, Nance, you got a big mouth and you like to talk. So we've got a job for you. And I was
There
like,
you go.
bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on. And so one of the things though is so many people think being intuitive, like you have a gift. I think I said it too before. It's not really a gift. I like to look at it as a practice. It's just something to practice. I practice this every day. I sit there, I pray, I do my ritual of calling in spirit and tapping in. I make sure my energy field is clean and good and vibrant. I would never work with a client until I'm in a place where it's safe for me and them.
Exactly. Yeah, and not only safe, but I want to be able to do help them. If I'm not in a place where I can offer the help, then it's not good. It's not a good thing.
And I have I've canceled clients and stuff when I'm not in that good space. And I wish more people in our industry would, because I know it's a hard industry to be in financially and everything. But the whole thing is that when you show up so good for yourself and you do the work on yourself every day and you have that self-love and that feeling of vibration, gosh, you can move mountains. You can just move mountains. And it's just like, I want to tell people, like, you don't have to be upset. There's just God or spirit tapping you on your shoulder and telling you, just go down this lane. Just go down this lane. It's a different lane for you. Wrong way.
Wrong way.
You were down the one-way side.
You just didn't read it. You went the other way. Yeah.
It's okay. It's not a big deal. Just turn it around.
So listeners, Nancy is actually, she says she's a coach. So what she does is she teaches this kind of stuff. So would you like to tell the listeners what kind of stuff you teach and how maybe some approaches you take? And
so what I do really teach is my BAMS, body awareness, movement, spirit. It seriously starts with how you feel your body. And I know people will be like, oh no, I feel my body great. I don't know. Google and Siri don't really know how you're supposed to feel your body. Let's find out what your body really needs to get going. And the awareness. We are the best at negative self-talk to ourselves. We're so good as like humans, number one at that, so awareness of the words you use, I need. Now, what about you want, right? I love everybody's like, so busy. I'm so busy. Really? Or is your day just full? So it's just being aware of the different words that you use. And then your movement. When I was diagnosed or told, I hit my 40th birthday and I did not like my body. I was not liking it. So I did triathlons, because everybody should do that when their body's attacking themselves, because that's smart. No one, So I decided I'm going to show this body and I'm going to do triathlons. So movement, are you moving enough or you're not moving enough? And then my biggest thing, I love it because I can sneak it in there, and I can say it on this podcast because the people listening to this podcast will get it. But I can sneak that spirit in, to that higher self, allowing you to tap into that energy and knowing it is not certain energy for XYZ, or this person who has a gift, or the person who's, on the boardwalk looking through the mystical, ball. No, this energy is for everyone. It's for everyone. So you can tap into that. And when you tap into that higher self by getting to know you, and I tell everybody to do it this way, look in the mirror. And so I like to put my hands up next to my eyes, but look into your eyes and tell yourself, hey, cool, I'm glad we're on this journey together. And then your eyes are going to dart all over a place, because it's going to be a hot sex that you told yourself how much you loved yourself. Right? And you're going to get to that point where you're just like, this is cool. I like you. And then you're going to get to that I love you. And when you get to that I love you in yourself, your soul opens up. Your soul opens up. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
It's that easy. Because when your soul opens up, you start to trust yourself. And when you trust yourself, you start to believe. And then when you believe,
anything's possible.
There you go.
Oh, I got it already. Yeah.
There you go.
So how do you help people who are more resistant to being able to just accept themselves and love themselves? Maybe they do the mirror and it works for a minute or two, and then they just go home, or later on they start that bad feeling comes back. They're wrong. They're bad.
I do a lot of tips and tricks. So like when you work with me, I have a 90-day program. I take you on. I have a toolbox. So like if you're telling me, oh my gosh, I went home and the mirror thing didn't work, fine, let's throw it out. You're not ready for it. Let's throw it out. Let's try this. And then I take them on so when I coach, obviously I'm not tuned into me. I don't have an agenda. I'm tuned into them. So I'm tuned into me to be working with them. So I use my direct line from source to help them. So I speak their language.
Right.
I speak to them. So like somebody like you, I may be a little bit more forceful with because you get it already. And I just want to guide you down the path, right? Somebody else, I'm a little bit more gentle. And my clients will always say, you get us to the point where we take us out of our comfort zone, but you're so gentle and guided because it's coming from spirit. It's not coming from me. I take my ego, like I said, and put it on the shelf and say, this isn't about me. This is about you, And so when I can tap into myself to be of service to you, then there's no agenda. So it just happens.
Right, right.
It just happens. And you guys know that. This is probably what you do when you do your readings. There's no agenda. You probably don't even remember afterwards, right?
I don't. I can't explain that. I don't remember hardly any, unless I read for someone consistently. If I read for them consistently, then I will. But if I haven't, if it's one or two times, I won't remember any. I'll remember their name maybe, and I'll remember like that I like them, or something like that. But I won't remember what we talked about. It's embarrassing because they're like, well, I want to catch up about blah blah blah, and I'm like, I can't remember. Yeah, but I think it is that zoning.
Well, that's the beauty of it because
I think it's protecting them. Agenda. Maybe,
that's, Lisa, that's just beautiful because if you remembered, then that meant you brought your ego to the table. You didn't. You didn't. You were like, hey, I love this person in front of me. I want to work with them. I want to give them everything that they need or want and to make them feel safe. But I'm not going to hold on to that. I'm going to put my ego over here.
Yeah.
It's so like I have to take notes on my clients a lot. And sometimes when I get really deep into it, I'm like, dude, you may want to record this because I'm not going to remember this. Right. I love you to death, but I've got my own stuff going on. I really don't need to remember all of yours.
I would like to be able to, but I just think it's just like the capacity isn't there. Yeah, I can't.
Well, that's probably good, like she said, because a lot of clients probably wouldn't want anybody to know this personal stuff. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they'd probably feel better that you said,
that's what I usually, what I tell. I've never thought about it as like, I kind of take a back seat and like do, the healing that I'm trying to do. But, I always thought of it as their protection, like some kind of spirit guide protection or something like that, where I just don't remember. It's just pulled out and it's there.
No, because you're just, you know what's really great about Lisa, and you want to hold on to this, it's just because you're totally in tune. So sometimes like we think that we have to get in tune to their spirit to be able to understand it. No, you work better when you're in tune to your higher self to be of service to them. So it's like a different way of looking at it, right? We always think like when I first started really diving into this and my first time I did a reading, my husband's like, so are you nervous? I was like, yeah, no, I don't even question it anymore. It's like, it just comes and I'm like, wow, that was fun. So, because the thing is like, we always think we want to tap into their energy, get their guides and stuff. And it's like, no, I want to tap into my trusted team because you're there for them. So that's very beautiful that you don't remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's really
cool. Thanks.
Yeah. It's the person that remembers everything that you're like, what are you doing at night? Going home and talking about me at a glass of wine?
That's so true. Yeah.
My day's so done, and my husband's like, so how was your day? And I was like,
I don't remember.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I talked to Sally, I talked to Joe, I talked to Jeff, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
That's about it. That's all I got for you.
So Nancy, if you have any advice for somebody who might like want to see a coach or something like that, somebody who might have a hard time starting on their own, because that's like really where someone like you could help people in a big way, because there's so many people who want to start opening up and getting in touch with their intuition. They don't know the first step. But what would you advise? Like, first, we got the mirror. That's beautiful. That's a great thing. But what would you tell them to, like, other than that, like any other advice you might have to start?
Get quiet. Seriously, get quiet. And, this doesn't mean meditation, lighting candles and creating a Zen room. That's cute. And that's nice. Like I told you, I used to go into a closet with frankincense and Jesus, right? Getting quiet just means everyone knows how to vacuum. You don't have to think about vacuuming, do you? You just vacuum. So why not get quiet when you vacuum? It's setting that intention. My intention right now is I want to quiet my brain while I vacuum. You go back and forth, back and forth. Washing dishes. Do you really need to concentrate when you wash dishes? No. So it's not so much the quiet, the meditation. Yeah, I meditate and I do bigger things to keep myself on target. But to start out, it's the intention. I'm going to get quiet now. And so at first your brain's like, yeah, no, no, no. So you want to acknowledge so if it's really hard for you to get quiet, I always tell everyone to do this. This is my go-to. White paper, blue pen. And the brain will understand it. I call it brain dumping. Just get it out. So like, you're like, sometimes my clients will be like, I have no idea what Nancy wants me to do. I have no idea what Nancy wants me to do. Oh my gosh, I hate life. I love life. Whatever comes to mind, it's brain dumping. And what happens with that, because our brain I'm obsessed with the brain and how it works. And it's a muscle that we don't use enough. So, and so when we brain dump, we actually then get it out, everything out, that you can get messages so easy. So like, that's my advice to every new person. Just get a white paper, blue pen, and brain dump. And just brain dump.
Oh yeah, that would feel so good. I advise a lot of people like to write down and journal their especially when they're feeling bad, and then try to go back and change the words a little bit. You know, like the next day, read it back and see how bad they were to themselves. Maybe they weren't fair. Right. They weren't fair to themselves. And especially journaling any kind of energy work experiences, any kind of psychic experience, anything you might be a psychic, you don't know. I would say journal those things down too. So get some of that positive in with the dump, try, just find something neat. Yeah. Just anything. Yeah.
So it's kind of funny. I did this whole journal. I would just brain dump and write and get messages. I never reread them. And lately I've been going back and reading them. Oh my gosh, I see what Spirit did. I didn't even know. Like, I wrote this beautiful devotional series in 2017 about joy, Jesus over you. And I read it just in 2020. And I was like, wow, that's beautiful. But because I was just brain dumping and I really wasn't paying attention, I go back now and I'm like, wow, they were setting me up for being here right now. I'm supposed to be, I know me, and you guys probably know you are too, but I know I can only talk for myself. I'm here right now to help people who are supposed to be blossoming, who are supposed to be opening up their intuition, who is supposed to be being aware of the awakening of Christ consciousness and their own inner self and their own, that there's only love. That's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that.
There's only love. Right. So that's why I'm here. And it's all making sense now. They were setting me up, man, and I didn't even know it. I was falling into their trap. And here I am.
Happily falling in that trap.
Happily falling into their trap. Like, bring me on, baby. So there's only love. And then if we can get you to the place where of course you're gonna have bad days and good days. Trust me, we all do. But it's how you react to them. I think all of us in this industry, which you can stop me if I'm wrong, and I'm probably not, have all been down major rabbit holes, had really, really hardship in their life. And do you know what? I mean, totally. My roller coaster ride was, I could go on. I could write a book. I was on trial for 7 days for something I didn't even do. And it was like, I could write a book. But you go down these rabbit holes, right? But it's the person who can look up and see the sky and the light and the sun and says, I don't want to stay here. I'm going to get out. And I'm going to believe in something better. And they start to get out, right? Because that was what we all chose to do. All of us here who are awakened and have psychic abilities and intuition, whatever you want to call it, we chose to go down those rabbit holes so that we could be here of service to others. Because that's what we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
Right. We're just supposed to be. So Misty, your rabbit hole would help one woman down the street. Lisa, your rabbit hole, my rabbit hole. We don't know, but it was supposed to be to be here to be of service to others, that you can go down that rabbit hole, but I'm going to be there to help you get out.
Yeah.
I say that a lot. I do. I've told my kids that before too. If something happens to you in life, and you don't understand it, you might be able to help somebody else in the same situation, because you have been through it,
Yeah, perfect.
Heartache and love, or, whatever you go through, there's always going to be somebody that doesn't think that they have anybody that knows what's happening,
Right.
And I think that's beautiful. I love that.
Yes. So there you have it.
That's wonderful. Hey, so Nancy, if any of the listeners would like to either get a reading from you or have you as their coach or find out more about you, where can they go?
So my name is unique, so I'll spell it. It's Nancy, Nance, and then CIASCA.com. That's my website. You can also, I have a great private Facebook group that I'm looking to build. So come on in, where I teach in it for free a lot. I just feel like that's my purpose and my passion. So I'm looking for people who want spiritual awakening or ready for solutions. No more problems, only solutions. I work for solutions. That's it.
I like that.
So that's called a series designed for you. And I guess you're going to put all those links down there.
Yes, and of course, everything will be in the description of the podcast.
And of course, I work with Everclear on occasions of I try to get on 3 to 4 or 5 times a day, and I'm a week. I mean, I'm Nancy, NANCES there, and
yes. And I'll put her Everclear number in there. And while we're talking about Everclear, I want to thank them. They are our sponsor. And if you don't know about Everclear and you haven't heard the podcast before, it's an advice app where you can get advice from psychics and empaths. And it's where you can go to get the guidance you need to create the light you deserve. So I love it there. And I know I do. I have a great time. They're very patient. They like their psychics to be relaxed and happy and doing their best, I think.
Yeah, we all have a good time, and I feel like it works. So it's a great community.
It is. It's weird because they give us a community around each other, which a lot of places I've worked don't like that.
I like it a lot.
Lines. Yeah, I do too. So I guess, do you have any last words? Any last words of wisdom?
I just want to say, everybody out there who's listening, just take the time to get quiet, center your attention, learn to love yourself, and then everything will open up for you. And you can be one of the people that walk around and say, I have gifts, because we all do.
Yeah.
So I would love to help you find those gifts, because we all do. It's like Christmas every day.
Yeah. That's so true.
So remember, there's only love. And Lisa and Misty, thank you so much for having me on this. I love it. I love it. Thank you. It was great.
This is awesome. Yes,
I really appreciate everything you're doing, getting the word out there and trying to build this whole intuition and build our vibrations a little bit.
I hope so.
Yeah, we love it too.
Yeah, it's fun to do.
We love to learn.
Yeah, yes, we learn from every guest. I learn a ton from everybody.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
And listeners,
it's so fun.
Listeners, I can't wait, but we have some exciting guests still coming up in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned, and thank you for listening. Have a great evening.
Goodbye.
Bye.